Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 video. So today we're going to take a look at some best builds via the new best build system in Fallout 76 and have a look at the cool stuff that people are building. So I've come across quite a few really awesome builds in the last little while, and I thought we might like to share some. So we're going to take a little look at them, we'll see what's cool, see what we might have done differently, discuss some cool techniques that are in there, and hopefully look at some amazing builds. So, without too much further ado, let's have a look at this. Okay, so up first we're in the Savage Divide with a Pleasant Valley house build, and there's a whole bunch of cool stuff here in this build from Loca 1303, and yeah, we'll kick things off by dropping it a like, because, well, if it made it into the video, I'll probably like it, don't I? So, let's have a gander. Quite a cool structure, this. Quite high up. Normally stuff that's that high I'm not the biggest fan of, but they've managed to make something pretty imposing and cool out of it. First up, we can see the red brick stucco walls there with a roof on the top at this left-hand corner. So these are just barricade defensive type walls, which I'm now wanting to use a little bit more because I haven't used them in a while and they look cool here. And I think a combination of flamethrower work and judicious building here, because I think the brick walls that they are sort of underneath or over are still there, at least around the structure, and have just been sort of destroyed, and then the walls slid in underneath, and it creates for a really different texture in the similar vein to the brick, and I quite like that because this brick can be a little overbearing at times. Yeah, underneath this nice low roof, and points for that because I like building low sort of structures like this as well. We've got a really tidy little crafting space, nice and accessible at the front, makes a lot of sense to me, quick and easy to run back to when you need to. Vendors easy to find, little practical space going on in here, so we use some bits and pieces. The symptomatics tucked in tight under an awkward roof there, and that must have been a job to do, even with the rug glitch, which we can see going on by the presence of the rug. Yeah, it's a really tidy little sort of courtyard, this, front garden, for want of a better word. I love the fact there's a tree there that is just sort of growing through the middle of the build, and it really looks like it belongs. I've done a nice job of building around that. Doesn't clip through to the house too much either, which is always a win. Might have gone for a different front door myself. Just me, but it is cool nonetheless. Getting through the curtains can be a bit awkward when you're walking slowly. You do need to do it at a bit of a clip, really. Curtains are awesome to have those. Easy to forget to put them in, and they do have a great impact on the room. I like that central sofa with the sort of sideboard behind it there. It looks really, really cool. Simple, not over-detailed, but there is actually quite a lot of detail here at the same time. I'm guessing, purely a guess, this is probably quite close to the build limit. And yeah, they've struck a nice balance between making it look busy and lived in, but also managing to decorate everywhere, which can be challenging at times. So yeah, cool. Lots of little details, a few things merged onto shelves in there, little stacks of got a suitcase and a couple of other sash boxes under there. There's a few more in the sitting room area as well that come together quite nicely. Nice little, almost a diner style kitchen down there. As we head upstairs, I'm a bit iffy with some of these stair skins sometimes, but they work okay in this one. We'll head on through to the bathroom first up, using the scrolling vault door there. I want to know what this is. What object is that? How's that been done? Where did it come from? That box with the vault suits in, because I would love to have those for a decoration item. I like the merging of the sink onto the sort of computer console there. It makes for a different sink stand, which is cool. Don't quite blend together, but it's creative and I like that. Tipsy Tom's out here for a brewing station and a bar and an additional vendor, which is pretty awesome. Nice little bits of detail around here. My favourite thing up here is this hot tub, which you notice is level with the floor. And they've done that by the fact this house is actually just a step or two up from the rest of the foundations, so they obviously planned that way in advance of the rest of the building, because actually getting that to level up is not easy to do, or requires at least a lot of forethought to do it at this kind of height, which is really cool. Nice little touch, that. Definitely something I've never seen before, and I think it's really, really cool. We'll swing around upstairs. Not a lot going on the landings. Weird place for the punch card machine, I feel. Seeing as all the workbenches and stuff are downstairs, I kind of want it nearer to there for me, but I don't know what somebody else's loadout setup is like, so who knows. This is an interesting bedroom space. I love the colours on it. I wouldn't have used the brick wallpaper personally in a bedroom, but it works, so that's great. It works really well. Same thing about the heart-shaped bed there. That's not something I'd have thought of. I do like putting something behind it, though, to create that extra shelf. It's definitely very, very cool. Lots of little detail. I love the low ceilings, and yeah, it just gives that cozier, more homely feeling. The proportions are always a bit weird with the building pieces sometimes. Having lower ceilings like that does make it feel a bit more cozy and homely, I feel. And yeah, gets my seal of approval for sure. Like the wood panelling wallpaper as well. I've not used that in a while myself. It's sometimes a bit too clean, but it works quite nicely in here. I feel like I could have done with maybe a non-standard texture on the foundations there. On like a linoleum one or something. But maybe they don't have access to that sort of thing. Nonetheless, very cool. You can see there now what's actually been done with the hot tub. You can see that little step down there, which is the front steps coming in there. I also want to know how they managed to sink this flag in the way they did, because that's really cool as well. It's only down and just far enough to hide the tyre on the bottom. And I like that a lot, really sets off that front courtyard quite well. So yeah, a really, really impressive build that sadly didn't get good weather for, but I wasn't letting that one get away, so yeah, very cool. Kicking things off in style. So, camp number 2 is, again, still in the Savage Divide, slightly better weather for this one. Just labelled Appalachia build. And it comes from Maron 1026. I have noticed quite a few people not being as descriptive as they might be with their tags. Possibly something to bear in mind as and when we upload our best builds to the system. Definitely make sure that the tags actually describe what your theme and your idea is and stuff. Assuming you had a plan in mind and didn't just come up with it on the fly, which is a perfectly valid approach. This one I really like because it just uses the 2 prefabs and then it really does the detailed decoration thing that I am forever harping on about. And this little corner here on the end of the trailer is a really good example. You've got the vehicle trailer with all the Blue Ridge stuff on it, and then a whole load of extra stuff piled onto it to build it up and dress it up, make the whole thing more organic and complete looking. And it really adds a lot of visual detail and interest to the outer area here. So yeah, I would always say, particularly if you're struggling for something to do, find a prefab, for example, that you like the look of, and then just go mental with the decoration. As inorganised as that might sound, it will come out with something that looks lived in at the very least, and I think it works really well for the 76 style. This is embracing it quite nicely. It's actually really making me want to come back and use this particular trailer. I usually prefer the smaller one, but I've used this a couple of times and I'm kind of getting the itch to build with it again, which is always a good sign for the build you're looking at. That's inspiring, I suppose. Lots and lots of little bits of detail and boxes with more stuff on them and so many just items around. It's like, okay, I've put something down to decorate it. What could I put on top of it or next to it, and to build the whole thing out with more and more and more detail. And it really works for a busy, vibrant, colourful and sort of welcoming vibe. Very, very little in this build is just dropped alone. Everything has something more added to it. Like the 2 tables, well, the table and the planning board on the wall there, the heist board. It's quite cool. I like there's 2 pan racks there. I've used the pan racks a lot of times, but I've never put 2 side by side like that before. I might have to give it a go at some point if I can fit it into an appropriate gap. Yeah, there's lots of little bits of detail like that I'm liking that. Having looked through this a couple of times now, I keep spotting new details, which is always fun. The outside of this Iron Mountain Anvil blacksmith shop thing has got loads and loads of extra detail on it, which is always good fun. And this is kind of a fence here. There is actually a fence through it, but obviously you've got everything else piled up and around it to create a barricade here that just looks so much more interesting than just an ordinary fence. It's really, really cool. And almost a tiny criticism on this one. You've got the vendor in there, and there's so much going on that it's easy to miss. Which, I don't know, maybe an open sign or some kind of arrow might have been warranted, but it looks great. Maybe a little easy to miss. I think it's like the 2nd or 3rd time I walked through before I spotted it. Not that it's the end of the world. It's not functioning in a best build anyway, but people thought. So, we have a crafting space inside the Iron Mountain Anvil, and one of the strange things about this sort of build, one of the cool things rather about this build, is that we've got multiple crafting spaces spread out through the area, which is quite good fun. Sort of makes up for sort of limited furniture that we have available sometimes and variety, which is kind of nicely done. One of the things about this that I struggle to not see is the floor in here, and I'm pointing the finger solely at Bethesda on this. That big old concrete floor that is horrible. Now, if you're going to use fire inside a building, I can see the appeal of a concrete floor, but that doesn't stop it being ugly, and it is a struggle to draw the eye away from that. So off this build, probably the weakest room, but also the hardest one to decorate in the first place, so fair. Yeah, I particularly like that it's been well used. Then we come up here, we start to see a bunch of duplicated bits of furniture and stuff. I mean, kind of inevitable anyway, but what's been done with this space is vibrant, colourful and fun, although my brain says, why isn't it particularly functional? I know we've got a few seats around, but I can't see you using the space. I might have put a bed up here. I don't think I've seen a bed anywhere in this build, actually. But that's just what I'd do. Doesn't mean anybody else has to, does it? I certainly like the look of it, the colour. There's a lot of cool objects on display, and that's fun as well. Cat there and all of the stuff from the Aquarium of the Atlantic. It's just, again, it's always something new to spot buried in this build. Same thing is actually true down here as well, now that I'm slightly over the initial shock of that floor that I get every time I see it. But yeah, it's cool. There's little splashes of colour. I think trying to put colour in a very, very grey room is a challenge, but yeah, good space. It's a good prefab, this one, actually. If I remember rightly, it's a bit flimsy, though. But an interesting shape, and the decoration on the outside is absolutely stellar. Yeah. As I said at the start of wandering around this particular build, piling detail on detail on detail always makes a place look lived in and complete. And essentially, this is a really simple build with just, you know, 2 prefabs and then stuff placed. There's a few little techniques going on, but the decoration is what's really bringing it to life and putting the colour in it, and it's been done very, very well. So, build number 3 is a very, very different type of build. We are down in Skyline Valley and looking at a military lab from Billy. From Billy. I'm not going to get that first name even close to right, so let's not embarrass everybody and see me struggle. This is a darn cool build, though. Bit of an enclave research station with lots of lightning. And it is moody and atmospheric and monolithic in a way that works, which often doesn't with 76, but this one does. Really good use of the Brotherhood building set, and you'll see why it's a bit more enclave on the inside in a bit, but I like the use of the satellite dishes at the top, and we've got a tall climb up a cliff here. This location is actually somewhere I want to build. My idea for it is completely wildly different, but it's cool to see it used in a very, very different way to what I would have thought. We've got a sort of front-loaded crafting space down here, so easy to access, so when you make a flying visit back to your camp, you can just get at what you need, which is always very, very cool for a practical working camp kind of vibe. But they've managed to do that and really lean into style, and a theme, which is cool. A mile oak there. I like the use of the stage lights there on each of the workbenches. I only just clocked that. I might have to steal that idea sometime. I would have liked to have seen more detail and bits and pieces down here in particular. You'll see why it doesn't do that upstairs, but there may be a build budget issue on that, as isn't there always. We're going to skip on a little bit ahead because we're just going to make ourselves dizzy going up the stairs for a moment and jump straight to the top. The darkness makes it a little hard to see out of these windows, but they are quite a cool choice. I imagine the view is pretty good in the daytime. But we're coming into... I'm not sure if this is Enclave or Alien-themed stuff. I think it's a bit more Enclave, really, these doors. We've got a nice little bathroom on the outside here. Well, I say bathroom, it's more of a shower room, really, isn't it? Done a nice job of getting that shower to sit right in the corner from the look of it. Not that I look too closely, but it can be finicky on that front. Speaking of things that are finicky, finding the activation point on these doors with no HUD was very, very finicky. I spent way too long on that. So, moving on, we'll have a look inside. And we get very, very research and scientific and also very Enclave vibes. Not least of all with Sophia there and her ally station in an Enclave outfit. Kind of puts the final nail in that particular coffin, doesn't it? But this seems like the sort of thing the Enclave would do, given we know what they got up to. Researching the various mutated creatures is definitely their thing. And yeah, using the creatures in tubes goes very well with the Volt generator there, which is pulling from a number of different styles of and themes, I guess, and putting them together in a way that really works, which is cool. Because it's that very science fiction, scientific vibe, which I like a lot. Alien chemistry station there. Finding an occasion to use that is difficult, but it's been done quite nicely there. Not sure what this big chalkboard-looking thingamajig here is, or where it comes from, but it's quite cool. Now, got lots of terminals. The symptomatic blends in, just looks like it belongs, because sciencey theme. It's always cool. There are a few doors here, incidentally, that laser gate and the one we just went past that are locked, so I don't think there's a vast amount behind them anyway. But we can't really find out, can we, if they're locked? I mean, I could pick the lock without it being a problem, but I don't really want to. So yeah, really cool, simple, clean design. This is a really good example of where going crazy with the decoration wouldn't be a good idea, because it would be a little unscientific in its vibe there. I really like what they've done with the lightning rod thing on the top of the generator there. It looks really, really cool. Really sets a theme, a little bit of mad scientist going on. Good use of the wallpapers and the flooring as well. Some good selections there to get that vibe going on. And the glass does a good job of it as well to create that lab vibe. Yeah, I am quite impressed with this one. Like I usually say, decoration is the way to go, but in this case, it's a really good build that goes the opposite direction. The lighting is good in this as well, particularly. And we're going to struggle with the doors again from it. Incidentally, I absolutely did go back and close these doors with the HUD on afterwards. But like, the lights on the stairs and on the walls are just spaced out and blend in quite nicely, so they illuminate it nicely, but you don't kind of notice them, which is really organic, would be a good word for that, and I found it very, very impressive. Definitely particularly impressed with the lighting job on this one. It's subtle and moody, and I like that a lot. I'll swing back around. This is actually a little cave under here that I want to do some building in at some point, but I haven't got around to it yet. Yeah, definitely a very cool location with some very, very fun ideas in it. And yeah, a very sort of singular style that in this case is executed particularly well. Very impressive. I enjoyed exploring that one. So, there we go. Pretty striking outer image as well, that one. So, starting off a potentially new series. Let me know what you thought of this one. Likes and subs and comments down below. As definitely want to hear if you want to see more of this sort of thing. Yeah, feedback on that would be very much appreciated. Hope you enjoyed having a look at those camps, got a little bit of inspiration and stuff. I think the best build system is one that needs a little bit of work ironing the last few creases out of it on Bethesda's end. But on the whole, I think is a fun thing to have, particularly for those of us who enjoy building camps, and it's cool to have a look around. So yeah, hopefully we'll be doing a few more of these, which would be nice. So, if you did like that one, like, subs, social media links down below, channel memberships there as well if you want to support the channel in that way, I very much appreciate. And of course, join us for live streams as well. We've got 76 on the go, we've got Fallout London on the go, we've got the Stalker series on the go, and so much stuff coming out over the next few months and beyond. So if you want something to watch, drop into the live streams, we'll keep you busy. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.